I can't do my job. Not with... I know there's a war afoot and all that, but there's a problem here at the graveyard. The corpses are climbing out of their graves. I promise, this isn't my fault. I buried them all real good. No, I don't know nothing. I was just bringing Prince Adrian in here to lay him to rest in the royal crypt. But when these walking bones started popping up, I ran for it. I just left the prince's corpse laying out. But what was I supposed to do? It's up there a ways, outside the royal crypt. One of the prince's knights stayed there to protect him. She can be noble if she wants, but I'd rather be alive. I do feel bad, though. That's why I was thinking maybe if I could find someone to help her. If you could find a way to get all those corpses back in the ground while you're up there, I sure would appreciate that. I can't make a living if I can't get into the graveyard. Died in a battle with the Reachmen, right there, with King Aemond. You have to feel for the queen. First she loses her daughter, then her husband, and her son. Prince Adrian deserves a proper burial. Just maybe after the graveyard's safe again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The prince has risen. It's a miracle.
What's going on here? I don't understand any of this. Last thing I remember, we were fighting the Reachmen outside Northglen. I saw my father fall. I tried to get to him, and then everything went black. Dame Valyrie tells me that we died? Then how am I having this conversation? I mean, I feel different. I don't even think my heart's beating, but... Do you think... am I undead? But then why am I not ambling about mindlessly trying to kill the living? Isn't that what the undead do? Dame Valyrie says the gods have resurrected me, but why? Because of my bloodline? I'm sorry, this is just too much. I don't know. If the dead here are rising and this is the royal crypt, have any of my ancestors risen? Maybe they can give us some answers. Would you consider venturing into the royal crypt to find out? I know it's unlikely, but I'm hoping that if I'm alive, maybe my father is too. Maybe Dame Valyrie is right. Maybe the gods are giving us a second chance. No. It's tradition for the kings of Evermore to be entombed at Bangkorai garrison, so they can protect our borders for all eternity. Dame Valyrie says my father lies in state there even now. Unless he's been resurrected, of course. No, to be honest, I only know of the kings who've been entombed down at the garrison. It's the royal crypt, though, so surely someone from my family has been buried here. My poor mother. I didn't even think of it. But this must have been torture for her. But to hear that I've risen, would this be a relief to her or some kind of horror? Best to figure out what's happening here. And then I will go tell her myself.
This tomb was built to hold royal remains, but none remain within. The remains of the royal family have vacated this place. They return to the land of living to follow the anointed and to avenge their bloodline. Prince Adrian is the anointed. He too has been blessed to rise again. Arkay himself, of course. His church sits nearby. These grounds are consecrated in his name. This was foreseen. Death denied the prince from defeating Evermore's enemies, but the Anointed shall now command an army of the dead. A mortal cannot hope to understand the will of the divine. You must simply tell him to trust the power with which he is imbued. His destiny will unfold as he trusts his instincts.
Whatever was in the royal crypt, at least it doesn't appear to have been lethal. Tell me, though, did you learn anything? Any explanation for my unexpected return to life? Then the gods do want something of me. I guess it's a second chance. A chance to redeem my father, myself. To get revenge. It truly is a miracle, then. I could lead the undead here to defeat the Reachmen. The Reachmen have been dealt with? This is tremendous news. I'm not surprised to hear about the Imperials. They were attacking southern Bangkorai before, and I knew they wouldn't stop there. Perhaps now my undead army can drive them back. I don't know for certain, but when you said it, something about it just feels right. Did this voice in the crypt say anything else? That seals the deal, then. We should make preparations. I'm feeling stronger by the minute. Dame Valyria is just over there trying to figure out where the undead are coming from. Tell her what you told me.
There you are. I was beginning to worry. It seems that more and more of the dead are rising every minute. Did you learn anything in the crypt? Really? Maybe he's right, talking about an undead army. But if this is his army, why are they hostile? We might have to earn their allegiance. Have you seen these blue flames in the ruins? I think they're somehow inciting the undead to violence. I do. I tried holy water on one and it seemed to do the trick. If you'll take it and extinguish a few more flames, that may help pacify the undead. After that, let's meet at the monument south by the rocks. I saw someone skulking around over there. It's a priest of Arkay, but something's wrong with him. He's just completely ignoring me. I'm not sure how I might have offended him, but if the blessing on Prince Adrian comes from Arche, the priest should be able to help us. I think he's had ample time to pray at this point. With all due respect to him and to the gods, we need answers here. Will you at least see if he'll talk to you?
O divine Lord, protector of the eternal balance between life and death, I beseech you, remove this dark curse from your sacred grounds. Shh! Or do you revel in the defilement of sacred law? These burial grounds are cursed, and I am pleading with Arche to reveal the source of the corruption. Unless you know the source, please, let me be. It did? That would be quite a surprise, considering Arche is opposed to undeath in all its forms. Do you think the god simply changed his mind? Why would he possibly do that? The prince has risen as well? This scenario grows more foul by the hour. What befell King Aemond and his son was tragic, but I cannot imagine it so offends Arche that he would break the natural order. I don't know. I should see Prince Adrian. That's the only way to ascertain if he's truly touched by the god. In the meantime, it might help me to commune with Arche if we stopped the dark spirits from defiling the other monuments. No. Your impatient friend here can escort me to the prince. I need your help with the spirits defiling the monuments. Destroy the defilers, and then I will have the clarity I need. After that, meet me at the church, and we can discuss the prince.
Yeah! 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 Why do you fear me, priest? Is it because I can control what you cannot?
Your Highness, I'm sure he means no offense. Please, calm yourself.
As long as he treats me with the respect I deserve, we won't have a problem.
I'm out of my depth here. If it comes to blows, I can't raise my sword against Prince Adrian, but I can't stand by and watch him strike down an unarmed priest either. This is starting to look like not such a miracle after all. Well, the good news is the undead didn't attack us. They actually bowed to Prince Adrian. Father Quiston's not exactly impressed with that fact, though. He thinks it's a very bad sign, and he told the prince as much. Well, we tested that out, and dripped some holy water on Prince Adrian's hand. It burned. That pretty much says it all. But Father Quiston believes there's still a chance we can remove the corruption. We saw skeletons digging up corpses and piling them up in the mausoleums as death shrines. Father Quiston believes that cleansing the mausoleums with holy water might have some effect. I'd hate to leave the prince, though. Will you go?
Why do you work against me? Would you have the prince spurn this blessing? The priest fears the unknown. That is why he refuses to acknowledge the gift the prince has been given. But why do you submit to this priest's direction? Are you a coward, or do you just prefer not to think for yourself? The priest is blinded by his preconceptions of power. This is a blessing for all of Bangkorai. What matter is it whether it comes from RK or some other source? The prince can sense the truth. He will give himself over to it soon enough. You regard power and opportunity as corruption? Such has always been the perspective of small minds. I thought you understood, but it is clearly beyond your comprehension. Very well. You've chosen your destiny.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
tried to stop him, but it was all I could do just to keep him from killing Father Quiston. Damn it all, what are we going to do now? The prince went into a rage. He started shouting at Father Quiston, saying this was his church, and he was relieving Quiston of his duties. Then he just ran inside. We have to get in there and talk him down. The doors won't open. I don't know if he barred them or what. Maybe the priest knows another way in.
Damn it! I knew this would happen. If it had been anyone else, I would have put him to rest right away. What are you doing standing there? We have to get inside! No. This is the only door, and the beast has locked it from the inside. There's a spare key buried under the tree in the back. You have Arkay's blessing to go and claim it. Just do it fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the thorn in my side returns. Your prince has accepted the gift I offered. He is a visionary. He sees beyond convention. But what about you? Do you still question the value of my blessing? He suffered enough in life. In death, I am giving him the glory he deserves. I told him, by giving in to my guidance, together we could purge this land of all our enemies. He was willing to make this sacrifice. You should honor his decision. I may not be a god, but with the strength of the prince's soul, my powers are considerable. Come, see for yourself.
That certainly wasn't my finest hour. But I thought it was Arkay. I thought he was giving me a second chance. There's nothing more foul than this creature's deception. It must have hailed from the depths of oblivion itself. Death. Death and destruction. It would have given me vengeance against my enemies, but it wouldn't have stopped there. It will never stop unless we stop it. Even now I can sense the darkness inside, gaining strength again. Please, kill me. Yes, the life force inside me is evil through and through. Thank you for saving me, friend. I wish I could have known you when I was alive. But this will have to suffice. I am ready to die. Ready as I can be, I suppose.
If you have said your goodbyes, Prince Adrian, it is time.
Wait. Are you sure there's no other way?
It's all right, Valyri. I accept it. And you must too. You served me in life and saved me in death. I can be at peace now. This chill. I remember it. Goodbye, Valyri.
It is done. His body and soul are at rest.
It's done then. He can now rest again. For good this time. I suppose I should be relieved, but somehow I feel like I've let him down. I did everything in my power to protect him. If I could have taken the death blow on the battlefield, I would have done it without hesitation. He should have been king. I'll return to Evermore to serve the crown. I am still a knight. It's my duty. First, though, I will do what I came here to do. I will lay the prince to rest. The woods are no place for a princess. The woods welcome you. Know that the creatures here are neither enemies nor friends. There are hunters and prey. For you? Perhaps. The Viridian Sentinel once kept the wild at bay for the folk of Bangkorai, but his power wanes. Soon he may regret saving the Princess of Evermore. Her mother already mourns her death, so why interrupt the natural course? Gravely wounded, but yes, Princess Alara is here. The Sentinel tends to her, and it takes all his power to draw her away from death. He would welcome aid if you wish to give it. We Weird have fulfilled our part of the bargain and shall offer no more. He'll be at the Standing Stones by Viridian Lake. His power is strongest there. Look for the broken statue. It overlooks the altar where he works. The Sentinel is part of an ancient pact made long before living memory. A guardian of the woods of sorts, who anoints his or her successor without needing our approval. Not all Weird believe we should continue to honor the pact. The forest is old and powerful. Long ago, a man not of the forest found a way to harness the forest's power and bend it to the will of his people. They called him the Viridian Sentinel. The title, and its power, has been passed down for generations. The Glenmoral Weird were not a party to the original pact. It's only our connection to the forest which binds us to it. The Sentinel is no true ally to the Weirises of the Viridian Wood. His sway over the natural order is anything but natural. If I had a seed for every man, woman, and child who asked me that, I'd cover the land in ivy in a fortnight. We are of the forest, and the forest is of us. That is all an outsider needs to know.
Sad, isn't it? The poor child. I'm afraid not. As the Sentinel, I must warn you that these woods aren't safe. But as old girls, I'm glad to see a friendly face. I remember when that child wasn't more than a knee's height, and now she's laid out like a corpse. Well, the weird won't call me anything different. Most people who live around here call me old girls, or just Stenwick. The Viridian Sentinel is a bit of a mouthful, don't you think? Makes me sound more important than I really am. Well, these woods have a life and a mind of their own. Well, what I do is make sure it doesn't get out of hand. There's some good folk who live near these lands, and without a firm hand, why, the wild would grow right over them. Me? I'd left Evermore and decided to live my life in the woods. And I met a man here, the previous Sentinel. He needed help and I stayed with him. When he grew too weary, he blessed me with the title. A long, long time ago. Once I even worked as a royal gardener in Evermore. Well, I'm more comfortable in the woods. It's where I belong. She was attacked and left for dead by the wayside like a beast. Well, she won't die on my watch, not if you can help me. Around the lake, you'll find rings of mushrooms, fairy rings. But fairies aren't what I need. Take my amulet. Get down in the center of the rings and feel the earth. I need the energy from there to keep Alara alive. I need to take the child back to my hut. It's just up the hill a bit. Can't miss it.
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
If I was younger, I could instantly purge the poison running through this young lady's veins. Now it takes all my strength just to keep her breathing. The poor dear. Just in time. I've made a salve for Alara that'll help her wake. I'll channel what energy I have left into her. The amulet should be able to sustain me afterwards. At least I hope it will. This'll just take a moment. Took more out of me than I thought. Go on, give it to the poor girl. I'll be all right. I'll be all right in a few moments. Seems my old age is catching up to me. Happens to all of us eventually, I suppose.
I was asleep? What am I doing in this hovel? And who are you? No, I remember. Stenwick brought me here. I was sick. Apologies, but I still don't remember who you are. Then you have my gratitude. I feel weak, but not unwell. It seems my outer wounds have all been healed. Tell me, stranger, how fares Evermore? Is my mother well? My father? I see. My mother must be in mourning then. I will send word that I am well, if Stenwick is willing. Ah, we have company, it seems. Who's coming in?
The forest feels your weakness, Sentinel. This is treacherous ground.
Enter Daemara. Was that a warning or a threat?
Stenwick, who is this? A Weiress?
Yes, child. You will know more of them soon enough.
Is that so? You're more foolish than I thought, old man.
Don't think anything of this. The Weird are a strange folk. The Weird and I have always had a tenuous relationship, but saving Ilara was something I needed to do, regardless of their objections. It will make this process harder than it needs to be, but I still have some spirit in me yet. It's quite complicated. Suffice to say, they don't think I should use the forest power for such things. Of course, they'd much rather I didn't exist at all. But it changes nothing. There's work to be done, and I'm not getting any younger. They are guardians of nature in the truest sense, and I am a guardian of the people. Our interests don't always coincide. They see my role as Sentinel as unnatural, though the Sentinel has existed for generations. My salve was but a reprieve, I fear. In order to safeguard Ilara, I need to do something drastic, and I'll need the Weird's help. You've seen the Spriggans of the forest, I'll bet. There's one that's much older and much wiser than the rest of them. Some call her the voice of the forest. In a way, she is. I need a bud from one of her branches, one freely given. It can harness the full power of these woods to safeguard Ilara's life. May I ask your aid once again? Find the voice of the forest. It shouldn't be difficult to find, but if you must... Many Spriggans carry a spore that returns to the voice of the forest when the Spriggan dies. You could kill them and follow it to the voice, but that certainly won't make it very happy. Take my amulet. Its power is spent, but the voice of the forest will recognize it and grant you an audience. Weiress Daemara may not welcome you when you take the bud to her, but persevere. She knows what the Weird must do.
I won't sit here and let you do all the work. We have to find the voice of the forest. If Stenwick needs a Spriggan bud, then I'll do anything to get it for him. I suppose you're right. I'll stay here with Stenwick. But this forest voice, if it's like a Spriggan, it will react to their deaths. I bet you could kill some Spriggans to draw it out. Probably, but they're animals. I don't see any other way to reason with them. Stenwick needs the bud, and we don't have time to coddle the Spriggans. We need their cooperation, whether they intend to give it or not. And if we never find it, no. Kill the Spriggans. It's the best chance to do this quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
This creature disturbs the woods with the sentinel's binding as a token. Has the forest not bent to the whims of the sentinel already? What more can we give? So he may pass our yoke to another, a stranger to the woods. Your demand is empty, voice of the sentinel. I refuse. You hold the last of his power over us. Why should we fear such an insignificant object? The sentinel cannot, but perhaps you can. The amulet prevents the woods from cleansing itself. Sprouts lie sleeping within the troll's offal. Use the amulet to wake them and add to our number. Then I will grant you this boon. We only seek to grow as our nature intends. Your sentinel is the one who prevents this, but you care nothing for our plight. It is a waste to speak of this further. Take the bud and be gone, but know this, there shall be no peace in these woods.
A familiar scent surrounds you. Did the sentinel send you? What do you hold? How dare the sentinel pick his successor out of pity? But she didn't bring us the bud, you did. Why should we give our blessing to one who needs another to carry her burdens? He didn't even trust you enough to tell you, did he? Let the Sentinel explain it to you when you next see him. I'll do my part and no more. Where is this princess who is greater than the needs of nature? Too weak to even follow you? No, the forest does not need such a creature. The Sentinel oversteps his bounds, and the Weird will not allow it.
If you have something to say, you'll say it to my face.
I will. You are weak, fit for little more than prey. How do you hope to wield the Sentinel's power?
Stenwick is trying to save my life. I don't know what he has planned, but I certainly owe it to him to see this through.
The child knows nothing, and he expects us to offer our blessing?
I don't know what Stenwick is planning, but if it'll save my life, I trust him. I don't understand why these weird people can't see that. Sounds like jealousy to me. It won't stand in my way. I won't give up a second chance at life for the whims of some forest folk. Stenwick is a kind man. Why won't they see that he means no harm? Why? She pretends to be in charge of everything. And we've already received the bud from the voice of the forest. That's good enough for me. And it ought to be enough for the likes of her.
Once the Viridian Sentinel stood for something more than a wet nurse to spoil children. Now he expects us to train and rear this daughter of the city as our own? No. The Sentinel asks too much. His time wanes. He will make this girl the new Sentinel, untrained and unfit. He holds no respect for the forest and no respect for the Weird. What does it matter to us if one child withers to allow the forest to grow free, I ask you? We've heard nothing from the Sentinel these past days but demands. Still, we will do what must be done. Perhaps we can trust you to make the correct decision when the time comes. Althine will help you prepare it. For the Sentinel's ritual, he needs a Spriggan bud, freely given. You have obtained that, but the bud will not bloom without nurturing. I hope you aren't squeamish about blood. But sister, you said this was the last time we would help the Sentinel. Enough. Come, let us finish the blessing and be done with it. Come along, then. We have a sacrifice ready. When I say, hold the bud out in your hands, keep them steady, no matter what happens. Plunge it into the offering. Quickly.
The Weird have stalled long enough. Stenwick isn't healthy, and we must do what he asked before it's too late. Go to him. Tell him what we've done. I'm short of breath and must save my strength. I have a feeling they don't dare harm me as long as I'm under Stenwick's protection. We'll see if I guessed correctly. Of course. And this bud may heal Stenwick, the way he healed me. We'll need to use it if we're to save him. Take him to that altar in the lake. I'll meet you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was hoping you'd return before... I couldn't speak to you one last time. It's good Alar's not with you. I'd hate for her to see me in such a state. Time, my friend.
I gave my everything to heal Ilara, and still it won't be enough. That's why I sent you to get the Spriggan Bud. The only way she'll live past a fortnight is if she becomes the Sentinel. And luckily there'll be a vacancy shortly. In a sense, the power of the Sentinel is immortal. I'm old, but Ilara is young. The Sentinel's power will take root and flourish in her. The weird fear what she will become, but you can't let that stop you. Take my essence. When I'm gone, save Ilara. Tell her she must tame the will of the woods. The bud will summon, and the amulet will bind. The weird certainly won't help, considering they'd much rather see this power go to waste. Don't let the Sentinel's power fade. It must live on in Ilara.
Yeah! Yeah!
I thought he'd be here by now. Where is Stenwick? He gave everything to keep me alive, even his life. I don't even know what to do now. Does that mean I'm doomed to die as well? That was his plan all along, wasn't it? And I never got to thank him. If this is what he wanted, then I must see it through. You still have his amulet? Take it to the altar. We'll say a few words for him. So these moats are all that's left of dear Stenwick. What's that sound? Can you hear it?
We meet again, ally of the Viridian Sentinel. Now you seek to subjugate these woods once again. We will see if you can succeed. How I long to watch you stumble and fail, but an ancient pact compels me to explain the rite. One simply has to gather the moats about the lake, but beware, we are not without our own defenses. Then there will be no Viridian Sentinel. The yoke about our necks for centuries would be freed. Of course, there is one way to ensure the princess does not become the Sentinel. Destroy the Spriggan Bud I gave you, and she will fail. It is true, but we have endured a slow death for much longer. Man was not meant to rule over nature. No matter their intentions, they cannot know the will of the woods. The Viridian Sentinel is a mockery of nature's true cycle.
I think I'm better now. Gods, what is this place? I didn't think we'd be able to pull through at the end. But we did. We did! You can't imagine how this feels. I had no idea Stenwick had this kind of... power. I can feel the earth. I can taste the wind. It's like every piece of this forest is a part of me. I will remain here, a part of these woods forever. Could I even command the beasts? It seems that it would have been a trivial matter. More than that, the rocks themselves give me strength. I feel immortal. Apologies, my friend. This power, it's heady, like a deep, cold pool. Refreshing, but so easy to fall into. I have much to learn, it seems. We met only briefly, but the forest will remember your deeds forever. I will make sure of it. So much has happened to me. It's hard to think clearly. No, I belong here, in these woods. Eventually, the Weird and I will come to terms. I see our past and present through the eyes of the Sentinel. There will never be love between us, but understanding is not too much to ask.